All right, guys. Hope that you have an amazing day. This is going to be a short one. So, if writing code is not the task anymore, what exactly is the task now? If you haven't thought about this, it's undeniable that AI is evolving at a very fast rate. However, there's some things that I want to share with you that are very interesting. If you're like me, that tend to think very apocalyptic things, you might think everyone is going to use AI so amazingly good that they're going to be able to produce things and software engineers are not going to be needed anymore. That's the base uh, or the base I was operating from. This could be could no longer be far from truth, I believe. I'm not sure if that's how the quote is said, but what I want to say is that I think this is not true. Here's the thing: people generally is very lazy. I would love to say that I am lazy too, but that's something that I'm changing. And I do not want to be lazy, so I can say that my past self was lazy. Right now, I think that the main focus of any software engineer is to learn to dominate and use AI. Here's what I mean: everyone can buy Copilot, a Copilot subscription, a Cursor subscription, a Cloud Code subscription. They can produce code very fast. However, large language models have context by default, and that context is a finite number. After that context exceeds the amount of tokens, what's going to happen is that that context it's going to behave like a sliding window. The first part is going to get lost, pretty much. And if you add files or if you add more context in the way of media, you're going to have less context that you can work with prompts and whatnot. So, to recap to the question or the main question, to go back to the main question, if writing code is not the task anymore, what is the task of a software engineer? And I'm going to be talking about points, but the simple or simplest answer is going to be to orchestrate code rather than writing it. And here are some points that I think are valid for this new era of AI assisted coding. The first thing is, as I previously mentioned, implementation. Multiple people will use AI, but they won't use it to the full extent because people are lazy. In knowing how to use the AI more effectively is going to be the main differentiator. If and here's what I mean by this. If you only use the main model versus someone who is using multiple models, you will be able to get an advantage of knowing when the models are most appropriate for a task. And this happened to me. I was working on a simple app where I needed some JSON from an analysis that Perplexity did. And the thing is that I used Claude Sonnet at that time, and it wasn't returning the correct JSON. Then I switched to Opus, and it worked more consistently, but not with accuracy. When I switched to using GPT 5.1, it produced the outcome that I wanted. So what I say by this is expose yourself to more models and learn the advantages of each one. Even there are some cases where you can save some money by using some local LLMs models or video models or image recognition models. So learning those nuances are going to be great. And all of this that I'm saying, I'm by no means an expert. at the end of the day, I'm making these videos for me too. So just take that into consideration. The second point is the tools knowledge, which is very related to the implementation point. If AI still going to make everything, then you should not create something that you do not understand. Because if you have, you will have to fix it manually and you will have a bad time. So here's the example with this. I am creating an application where I scrape the listings from a real estate page here in my country and I get the average price per city and per state based on, well, the listings that exist. With that, I also scrape things like number of rooms, number of bathrooms, number of kitchens, which, well, mostly is one, square meters or area, and all of these relevant information that I cannot think of right now. The thing is that I want to stream the process of scraping to a website where you are able to see all of your agents scraping in real time. For that, I needed to use stream technology that I didn't know or didn't knew at the time that was basically based on WebSockets. And I told AI first, hey, do this. And it didn't complete it because it's a very difficult task. So I had to learn the basics first to indicate what I was going to tell the AI to give me. And the thing is that if I do not know the technology or tool or concept, then I think you shouldn't automate it or ask the AI to build it. So that's point number two. The third point, which is very important, is reading. Even if writing is not going to be a thing anymore, reading still and will be a thing. Because at the end of the day, even if the AI produces the code and there's people not reviewing the code that the AI produces, I think your ability to read and read fast and navigate through the code base is going to become more relevant now. So if you're a fan of using tools like BIM or Nano or, well, all of these like tools that allow fast navigation, and then you find a way to integrate them with AI tools, then I think you will be more efficient. As you can see, all of the like these points are about getting faster, but not only faster, but better. That's going to be the main differentiator between software engineers. People who is really good software engineer without AI and that have mastered AI. That's basically what's going to guarantee that you stay relevant in the market. The fourth point is project scoping. And what I mean by this is defining the scope of projects is going to be an even more important ability. So for all of my project managers out there, this is your chance to shine and this is your chance to do really cool stuff. Just making sure to create tasks, subtasks, really good scopes, and then using that information to assign it to sub agents and then have those sub agents work on those specific tasks. The next point, which would be the fifth point, would be learning how to use local, cloud, or background agents. This is very self-explanatory, just deciding when to use local agents or local processes versus cloud processes and whatnot. A sixth point, which is very interesting, it's about operating systems. I don't think that operating systems are going anywhere. Same with server or system administration. I think it's relevant still. And here's the thing. So the reason I say that this is important is because there's people who want to use AI, but they don't know the tools or how to do stuff. And there's people who use Linux, the best software or the best operating system in the world, which is not Linux. Linux is not an operating system right now. It's just the foundation, and then we have the distros, whatever. It's just very easy thing to say to explain it. Um, you have tools that you don't have in Windows or on Mac OS, and a lot of these tools are terminal based, and this is going to be easier to access from an AI standpoint. So it's still relevant that you learn how to use Linux and how to integrate it with the AI ecosystem. The seventh point is going to be networking, and I'm not talking about just talking to other people. I'm talking about computer networking. Still important to learn. I think it's eighth point. It's going to be debugging and profiling. You can ask an AI to solve an error. However, you need to understand the error that you're solving and why you're asking AI to solve it in the first place. And for profiling is sometimes the AI is going to give you an easy solution. Maybe it's going to use a map, or maybe it's going to use a nested for some random problem that you have. But also you need to understand that there are data structures that are more efficient than others, and you might be missing out because you don't know data structures and algorithms. So still a very important topic for profiling, and I think it's very important to learn. And the ninth and final point is going to be system design. And what I mean by this is just how to design scalable infrastructure. Because at the end of the day, even if you can automate certain parts of infrastructure with Terraform, whatever, and maybe you can integrate AI to those decisions, at the end of the day, you also need to learn how to do it without AI, and how to be able to process millions of operations, the best data structures to store data, how to cache that data, how to process jobs, queues, whatever, all of this. So the conclusion that I want to give you guys is that the truth is that we can produce software way faster than ever before, but there is going to be a difference between people who just create code really fast and people who create code really fast but also knows how to create it better. So we will have the same velocity. What's going to happen is that some people will know how to squeeze the juice better. So if you're using AI for your projects, I know that some people use AI for like very little stuff, very like scripts or something. I invite you that you create a project end to end with AI. You will reach a point where it's going to be difficult to give the AI instructions, and that's when you need to think about how can I make sure that the AI has the context that it needs to solve this problem. Because like, for example, if you're prompting something, they don't need entire context. They just need the context more relevant to it. That's when agents and skills and agent skills comes to play. So I think you should learn that too. So at the end of the day, quality is translated to the extent of your AI knowledge. So this involves LLMs, automation tools, orchestrating subagents, like 100 subagents at once, and how to make these agents communicate to each other and collaborate. So that's the main point I want to make about this video. And if you have any questions, drop it in the comments, and more than happy to go and answer it. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. Talk soon.